Dead Poet Society resonates deeply with A Course in Miracles because both are concerned with awakening from inherited thought systems and rediscovering an authentic inner voice beneath conformity, fear, and role-based identity. The school in the film functions almost like an ego world miniature. Rigid hierarchy, obedience, performance, reputation, comparison, external achievement, suppression of individuality, fear of failure. Students are trained not merely academically, but psychologically, become acceptable, become successful, fit the structure. ACIM would recognize this as part of the ego's conditioning system, the attempt to define worth externally. John Keating enters almost like a disruptive teacher figure. Not unlike certain ACIM teachers, he does not merely provide information, he destabilizes perception. That distinction matters. Real teaching in ACIM is not primarily the transfer of concepts. It is the undoing of false identification. Keating continually invites the students to question inherited assumptions. Who told you who you are? Why are you living this way? What voice are you obeying? What happens if you actually listen inwardly? Carpe diem in the movie can sound superficially hedonistic, but deeper down it is really about immediacy and aliveness. ACIM similarly emphasizes the holy instant, not living trapped in past conditioning or future fear, but becoming available to present awareness. However, ACIM would probably refine Keating's message slightly. The film sometimes frames authenticity as self-expression or personal passion alone. ACIM goes deeper. The ego also wants self-expression, but often as specialness or identity reinforcement. So the real question becomes, is the inner voice guidance or merely conditioned desire wearing poetic clothing? That tension is visible throughout the film. Neil's storyline especially reveals this complexity. His longing for acting is genuine and alive, yet he is trapped inside oppressive expectations and fear-based authority structures. His father represents externalized control, the belief that value comes through predetermined success and social image. Neil's tragedy is not simply repression. It is the absence of true relational space where vulnerability, desire, fear, and truth can safely emerge. ACM would say authoritarian systems often perpetuate fear while calling it responsibility. But the film also avoids easy rebellion narratives. Pure opposition is not freedom either. Some characters swing toward reactionary identity, breaking rules, performing rebellion, romanticizing intensity. ACIM would caution that the ego can wear anti-authority costumes just as easily as conformist ones. Freedom is not merely doing the opposite of conditioning. It is seeing through the conditioning itself. One of the strongest ACIM themes in the movie is voice. Not just literal speech, but the permission to exist authentically without total submission to fear. Many students barely know what they genuinely feel because their identities have been externally authored. That's deeply ACIM. The ego self is largely inherited programming: family, culture, status systems, comparison, approval seeking, fear of exclusion. Keating repeatedly tries to restore direct experience. Poetry, standing on desks, looking differently, speaking honestly, feeling life instead of merely analyzing it. ACIM similarly seeks a shift from conceptual abstraction toward living awareness. There's also a major forgiveness dimension hidden beneath the drama. Most characters are imprisoned not only by institutions, but by internalized judgment and fear. ACM teaches that the harsh inner authority structure, guilt, inadequacy, self-condemnation, is one of the ego's primary mechanisms. The film's emotional power comes partly from watching students glimpse moments beyond that prison: friendship, creativity, courage, spontaneity, beauty. Moments where they stop performing and actually feel alive. But ACIM would also gently challenge one aspect of the film: the tendency to romanticize intensity and emotional passion as liberation in themselves. Not every intense feeling is truth. Not every rebellion is freedom. Not every dream is guidance. The course points toward peace as a deeper criterion than emotional drama. Still, the final desk standing scene is profoundly ACIM-like in one sense. It symbolizes choosing inner recognition over collective fear. Not worshiping Keating as a special savior, but acknowledging that something true had briefly awakened in them, something beyond conformity, beyond role, beyond obedience to fear. Almost like they remembered, however briefly, that life was meant to be lived from awareness rather than merely inherited scripts.